Let's talk about sugar now. Um, here's an array, a miscellaneous array of artifacts from our collection. So let's get into the show here. Oh, look at this old sugar. This is a Campe pottery from France, sugar bowl. And this is a really old sugar spoon. They call them sweet spoons. And this is a, I don't know, 19th century. Look at this. This was Meredith's mother's spoon, sugar spoon, sweet spoon they called them, and her sugar bowl. Yeah, Meredith grew up with those two items. So sugar transformed from a rare medicine and a luxury spice in the ancient world into the foundation of the brutal colonial plantation system. Driven by an addictive demand, it ultimately evolved into an everyday household necessity and a catalyst for modern industrial agriculture. Look at this. Here's what we're talking about. There's the Latin name, sugar cane. There's the different things comes in. And rum from the Caribbean. Well, look at these farm workers bringing in these long, up to 15 feet long sugarcane stalks. Now here's the where the name comes from: Sanskrit through Persian, through Arabic, medieval Latin, Old French. Sugar was introduced into Europe by the Arabs in Sicily and Spain, coming through from India through the Persian lands. Here are the top producers: Brazil way over the rest, India, European Union. Sugarcane originated in Papua New Guinea and those islands there, and it had a spread into Asia, Southeast Asia. Another spread was into India, and then from there you can see through the Persian lands, and then Western Asia, and then across North Africa. It got into Spain and the rest of Europe, and of course it had another distribution into the South Pacific. Sugar definitely has changed the world. This is a wonderful book that you can get. Because we've always had a sweet tooth, there's a very sour, sad part of the story. Slavery and the triangle trade, the explosive global appetite for white gold, they called it, fueled transatlantic slave trade. Millions of enslaved Africans were forced to work on brutal Brazilian and Caribbean sugar plantations. This created an international triangular trade network between Europe, Africa, and the Americas. I always try to highlight places where been preserved in food history. There's the Sugar Cane and Rum Museum in Puerto Rico. You can see it there. This is one of the images, the color images showing sugar mill in Puerto Rico. And originally these sugar came in these sugar loaves, and you had to have strong tools to break them into smaller and smaller parts. A sugar axe or a sugar hammer to do that. Yeah, and here's a book, Rum, Slaves, and Molasses, the story of New England's triangular trade. So rum originated in the 17th century Caribbean, where enslaved people discovered that molasses, a bitter byproduct of sugar refining, could be fermented and distilled into alcohol. This once discarded industrial waste, talking about the molasses, quickly evolved into a highly traded global commodity, including also piracy and naval history. So there's how they make rum. All of this sugar passed through India, which is still one of the leading producers, and making it. I love these labels, these rum labels. There's so many of them on the internet. You can enjoy them. Look at this one. Running away with a bottle of rum. I can see the sugarcane fields in the distance. And then there's Jamaican rum, Gregarious Grump brand, uncut, unfiltered. And this is a great book. And a bottle of rum, history of the New World in 10 cocktails. I think I'm going to get that book. Benefits of sugar are here: instant energy, nutrient pairing, mood boost. But excessive sugar consumption drives both obesity, tooth decay, surplus empty calories serving as primary food for carcinogenic oral bacteria. Oh, wow. All sorts of things you can see here. The reasons that too much sugar should not be consumed. This little guy, he's on his scale looking very worried. And it says, I love you just the way you are. Yeah, but too much sugary drinks and sugar-laden products for him. And then here's the history of sugar beets. The Napoleonic Wars blockades forced France and Germany to develop industrial methods to extract sugar from beets. Breakthrough dramatically lowered prices because it's more or less has the same taste. Here's the plant there. The sugar beet root containing a high concentration of sucrose, and you can't tell the difference between cane sugar and beet sugar, really. There's a mascot, the beater. Look at his little head. He's a mascot of some team, I think in Montana it is. And there's this guy, Arshad, German chemist. His principal discovery was the production of sugar from sugar beets. He's the guy responsible for discovering that. The city where I was born, Philadelphia, booming sugar industry transformed the city into America's candy capital because they were bringing all this sugar into Philadelphia refineries. The Delaware River waterfront featured massive industrial refineries, including the Franklin Sugar Refinery. Once controlled 90% of U.S. sugar, and the Pennsylvania Sugar Company. And you can see the Franklin Sugar Refinery there. 90% of American sugar, wow. And then there was the National Sugar Refining Company. I can remember this one. Big operation on the waterfront as well. So Philadelphia's booming sugar industry transformed it into America's candy capital. All that sugar was available for candy makers. So you had Whitman's, big chocolate company still going on. You had Goldenberg's peanut chews still going on and still actually in this original factory. Good and Plenty, oh, I ate a lot of that as a kid. That's a Philadelphia candy company. And then the oldest continuous operated candy store started in 1863. Shane's is over here, is also in Philadelphia. And this photo over here shows barrels of raw sugar awaiting refining lined at the wharves, because refining, yeah, you can, they crushed it right in the fields and all that, and then they started the reduction of the sugar juice into a sugar, but it had many different boilings and coolings and boilings and coolings, so much of it came up as raw sugar into these refineries. The Jack Frost sugar mascot, cartoon elf, or a young boy dressed in a white winter outfit, was created by the National Sugar Refining Company, featured heavily in packaging, including, here's one of the packaging, look at this. Jack Frost sugar, granulated for health and strength. Look, they're playing ice hockey. And then this wonderful story, Jack and the Sugar Cane. Jack gets tired. There's another slide there. So, 12-page illustrated pamphlet, advertising for the company. Jack Frost, mascot, decides to escape his winter duties by taking a boat to Havana, where he explores sugarcane fields and helps kids who read this book learn about the whole process. And there's our copy of the Jack Frost little doll. Here's, by the way, the little Marshmallow Man. Not sure what character he's from, but marshmallows, of course, is a sugary thing that we could do a whole nother show on. This is a king cake, model of a king cake. New Orleans Mardi Gras specialty. Boy, look at all that frosted, all colored sugar. Of course, the Italians, dolce, sweets. Look at them all the different variations, all using sugar. And then the Belgians have these wonderful biscuits, honey and sugar. This is an old canister, sucre. We got that in Belgium, I guess. Here's some model sugar cane hunks. Look at this sweets bar, encouraging kids to be patisserie, run a patisserie or bakeries. Look at all these colored things. Here's a syrup. This is the kind of thing that you would get at a diner. And this is a wonderful book. I think we're going to show this. This is like from the 1930s. It's wonderfully illustrated, actually quite accurate. And I wanted to show you this. This is Mother Earth Children. Little Miss Sugarcane is sweet. In truth, she's good enough to eat. She gives us sugar nice and white and syrup to make things taste right. And I used to use sugar packets to teach my young students math skills in terms of just pattern recognition. So for instance, you can see you set up a pattern and then the student, the child, would have to replicate it or continue it going. So it would be like that, and then, okay, that, and then let's see, sweet and low would be, whoops, no, it goes like that, and so forth. You can teach area, you can teach perimeter, and what I always used to say to my students and parents, you know, you're sitting in a restaurant and there's all these packets of sugar packets. And you can practice math skills and teach math skills and have kids show you, you know, they could set up a pattern and then the parent has to repeat it. So that's something that we encouraged because they're there, sitting there at a table. It's a series of books that Maud and Miska Petersham did about food and other other products. Look, published in Philadelphia, 1936. But it's just beautifully illustrated. Of course, there's maple syrup, and there's the sugar beets. We just talked about that history there. Napoleonic era, look at the sugar refinery. Raw sugar, aren't these beautifully illustrated? The Philippines, Cuba. In the sugarcane field, I don't know if it's actually talking about slavery. I don't think so. Maybe it's very sanitized old-time sugar makers. You see there's those cones that we talked about. And yeah, sugar traders, China, India, all that. I love that. All right. So if you like these shows, you can subscribe on YouTube. It's free. We welcome your comments. Tell your friends about what we're doing here, because we are trying to find a home for all of our collections, and that includes the little wonderful booklets that we have here, again talking about the history of sugar. Okay, well, we'll see you next time. Enjoy your sweet tooth, but not too much.